What excites you about this matchup, and how do you see it playing out?
I mean, the most exciting part about this fight is that Chase Hooper, someone the UFC has been building. They've got a lot of steam behind him. They've invested a lot of money into him, and I have the opportunity to go take that, kind of steal his thunder a little bit, and put a win and get my first win in the UFC, which is like, a pretty big deal. So that's awesome. I'm also looking forward to a great stand-up battle. I mean, his stand-up kind of sucks, but as far as mine's concerned, it's on point. So I'm really looking to expose him on his feet and make him pay for it.
Yeah, you talked about him being a top prospect. How do you feel about playing the spoiler role, so to speak, against him?
I mean, like that's more than fine with me. We got the offer, and it wasn't really a conversation. Like, I saw the name in the email. I replied right back to my manager. I'm like, please tell me we're taking this fight. Like, this is a great fight. He just we just watched him fight Alex Caceres earlier in the year, and Caceres really laid a beautiful blueprint on how to defeat this, amazing grappler. So, like, it's your classic striker versus grappler, or excuse me, grappler, striker versus grappler. His wrestling's kind of trash, but he's got great jiu-jitsu, and I'm looking to sprawl and brawl.
Right. Going against someone with a lot of hype, it's a great opportunity to steal some of that hype for yourself. Is there any added pressure against fighting a high-profile opponent?
No, not really. He's 1-1 in the UFC. He's 9-1 all around. He's still super young, which gives me the advantage on the experience side. It gives me an opportunity to kind of expose him in ways that he hasn't really learned how to handle himself under pressure. And then again, I know I'm not the first striker that he's fought, but I've done my homework. I've watched some tapes. I've watched a lot of tape. So we have an idea of what we're dealing with. And, it's a great opportunity for me to gain a bunch of fans. I think that kid's got a couple 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I'm sitting around like 6. So hopefully by the end of the night, after I knock this kid out, I'll be, a little closer to him there on that side.
Get some clout. Absolutely. The fight's going down at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. When do you head over to Vegas?
So we leave me and one of my coaches leave Tuesday morning. We get there, we quarantine, we do our COVID tests, and we get released Wednesday to out of our room and out of our training area. And then the rest of my corner comes in on Thursday. They have to do their COVID test. They quarantine until Friday morning, and then we're allowed to go from there. But this weekend's a big weekend to make sure I've got everything packed, make sure I've got all my stuff together, make sure I'm prepared. Make sure my house and all my other affairs are in order, so when I take off for a week, it's not a big deal.
Right. You were on the Contender Series last August, picked up a contract, made your UFC debut this August. Is there any comfort in being familiar with the Apex and sort of knowing the ropes of how the UFC conducts business now?
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge advantage going into the last fight as well, having already fought in that venue and seeing how they handle the athletes there. So, fighting in a quiet arena won't be new. Being able to hear both sets of coaches or both corners, that can be an advantage and a disadvantage in its own realm. He knows exactly what my corners are telling me, and I know exactly what his corners are telling him. And in the same token, I can clearly hear my corners, and he can clearly hear his corners. So it's a different dynamic a little for sure. What we kind of likened it to is like a glorified sparring session. Like if you're bringing someone in to get work with you, they show up with their coach, you show up with your coach, you guys bang it out for a little bit, and then you head home. It's crazy because the way the commission handles everything in Nevada, they can only have so many athletes in the PI at once. So, the first 10 athletes, they show up, and as soon as you fight, you get back in your car and you go back to the hotel. There's no hanging out. There's no wasting time. They have you pack up your training room before you go to the cage, and they meet you outside of the cage with all your bags, and they walk you to the doctor, and then they walk you right to your car, and you go right back to the bubble, to the hotel that they have set aside for us.
Yeah. You spent a lot of time on the regional circuit. You're a legend over at Cage Titans here in Massachusetts. How would you compare fighting on the regional scene versus now being in the big show?
Oh, I mean, Mike Polver, the owner of Cage Titans, does a great job. He's been every time he's had the opportunity to go to a UFC event with one of his athletes or one of his fighters that's coming out of Cage Titans, he's taken it. And, he's taken mental notes. He sees how the UFC handles things and he tries to implement those things on his level. So it's a totally different ball game. Don't get me wrong, but Mike does a really good job at adopting what he sees works, and it's reflected on how he runs his promotion. So it's everything I've had, but the next level. It's great. The staff out there is 100% invested in every athlete. Nobody plays favorites. They take care of everyone. I mean, I was on the phone with Jeff Nowitzki 2 days ago talking to him about some USADA policies, and it's like, I've only had one fight in the UFC, but he's going to take the time out of his day to address my questions, just like he would say like a Uriah Faber or Joe Lauzon or someone that has the pedigree in the UFC that's been there forever. So, that's a really cool feeling. They really make themselves available to everyone.
That's great. You just mentioned Joe Lauzon. I know you spend a lot of your time training over at Lauzon MMA. What's it like to have such an experienced and respected guy like Lauzon to train with?
So, I mean, I've said this a few times, but I'm pretty sure Joe Lauzon is going to go down as one of the toughest sons of bitches that's ever fought in the UFC, that's ever walked this earth in modern time. And to have like that caliber of a coach and a friend and a training partner is just something you can't replicate. It's awesome. Like, Joe looks at the fight and tells me how he would approach it, what his game plan would be. And then we take what he would use and work it into how I fight. So it's been an incredible journey. I've been with Joe for like the last 2 years, or year and a half, coming up on 2 years. And, I wish I did it sooner? Maybe, but I'm grateful for the journey that I've had, and I'm just happy that this is where I'm at now. And now that I've reached the next level, to have him in my corner is priceless.
Okay. You go by Slippery Pete. My opinion is one of the best nicknames in the UFC right now. How did that come to be?
So Slippery Pete has absolutely nothing to do with the way that I fight or how I fought or anything like that. It came from my stepdad. We were down at my mom and my stepdad's house, probably about 10 years ago at this point. But my mom was hosting dinner. All my stepsisters were there, the whole family, my brothers. And one of my sisters kept going, we were reminiscing about vacations. She was, oh, I remember this weekend here. I remember this year we went here. I remember this year we went there. And then she looks at me and she goes, but I don't ever remember Peter being there. And my stepdad, God rest his soul, was passed away. He was kind of not on his way out, but his mind was leaving him. And he just had a couple drinks. He chimed right in and goes, who, Slippery Pete? He was always there, but he was out chasing the ladies, And I came back to the gym that Monday morning. I was telling my buddies the story, and the name just stuck. So Slippery Pete's because I was a womanizing, slippery bastard when I was younger. It was a reflection of 15 to 22.
I love it. It works though. It's a great nickname.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Last question, and I'll let you go. What is the key to victory against Chase Hooper on Saturday night?
Knock this kid out, man. I'm going to be the first one to knock him out. He's durable. He's tough. He gives up his height to get to the hips. He's a great grappler. He's a brown belt Pan Am world champion. He's very crafty with a leg attack. I mean, you're not a stranger to the jiu-jitsu mat. If you've got someone who's really good at legs, what do? Keep them away from your legs, right? So, we've been working on the positions where he would be most advantageous, and we've been working low risk, high reward escapes to make sure that I'm safe on the ground. And I'm just gonna knock this poor boy out. It's gonna look like have you ever seen someone drop a box of toothpicks? That's what he's gonna look like after I hit him. Just kind of crumble to the floor.
I love it. All right, Pete, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Best of luck Saturday night.